So, Rhythm, have you ever heard of a war that was fought over a wooden bucket? Or how about a city that was engulfed in flames because of spilled whiskey? Well,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
we're gonna dive right into the bucket here. It's kind of mind blowing, and I think that
Hmm.
all of you out there are gonna be like, "What the hell? There's no way this happened." But in the year 1325, there was a war triggered by the theft of a wooden bucket, and it was fought between Bologna and Modena in Italy. The city
Oh
states in
man.
Italy at the time.
Yeah.
Modena was victorious, and they ended up keeping the bucket. But that took place and literally sparked a war between literally two city states.
So they go to war and they get to keep the bucket. I mean, and just a wooden bucket. Who
Just a wooden bucket.
carried this bucket? Was it Jesus Christ? And
Don't
that's
know. Could not. It not a lot of information about it, but
yeah.
some sort of wooden bucket. I don't know if it carried wine or whiskey or had some historical
I
significance, but
that's
they
true.
fought for a significant period of time, and there were lives lost apparently over a fucking bucket.
Oof. I
Yeah,
mean, history
imagine that.
repeats itself, right? We've seen people lose their lives over someone cutting in line at McDonald's or Kentucky Fried Chicken. So,
Yeah, yeah,
hey man,
very very interesting. I guess at the end of the day, when you kind of think about it,
uh,
I didn't believe it, and
yeah, it sounds so just made up in just like somebody's just like, hey, I just want to put something out there, and hey, we do the research and we figure out, oh, this actually happened.
yeah, 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 very 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 interesting. Just
Mm-hmm.
another one, the other one that I kind of just set us off on
Yeah.
down the path was about liquor. In Dublin, Ireland, in 1875, there was a massive whiskey fire. It basically was caused by they spilled 5,000 barrels of whiskey, and it led to a very very strange inferno. But despite all the devastation that took place, nobody died
Oh wow.
from
Well,
the fire.
that's good.
But in a twist of fate, 13 people died from alcohol poisoning because they were trying to drink the whiskey off the streets.
Oh my God. And how fitting for it to be the Irish. Shout out to my Irish friends.
Yeah,
Y'all drink like no other. And no, I know I can't hang. I don't do it. So, but yeah, what a fitting story. But yeah, wait. So no one died because of this four alarm blaze crazy fire, but trying to drink the alcohol off the streets, some people died because of that.
yeah,
That
yeah.
is
What
man.
I think ironic in itself too. Not
Yes.
only is it the Irish and it happened to the Irish, but yeah, just the aspect of they wanted to get that liquor. They didn't want it to go to waste, and
Oh man. Apparently
killed
not.
some of them in the process.
Hey, I'll die over this liquor. Hey, that was uh
Pretty funny,
the,
you know.
funny, but crazy,
Sad
man.
at the
It
same
is
time. I mean,
crazy.
yeah,
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 exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Something else, I'll tell you.
Man, I don't know how I can top those. Those were crazy to say the least. Before we get into what else, some of the other crazy stuff in history, we have, obviously we have some anecdotes about our lives and stuff like that. So, me living here in California, there's been man, a whole host of crazy things. Some things I haven't even shared with you, Dave, in the how many years now? 11 years I've been out here, and just off the wall, just like crazy moments. One of the moments when I first moved out here, I I had just sold my car because the muffler on it, on one of the pipes, split. There was a hole in it, and so I didn't know anybody or whatever. So I just got rid of it. So I was hopping on the bus from my job at the time, Nordstrom Rack, and so I was in the stores of West Hollywood. And for those who don't know West Hollywood, it's happily, um, you know, LGBTQ, the alphabet. It's, they're proud, and that's that neighborhood, West Hollywood. So after work, I walk up. It's La Cienega and Santa Monica to the bus stop, and I'm waiting, and these two guys, gay guys, they come up, and one of them, and they were drunk, by the way, and one of them was like, what are you doing here? And I had my headphones. I'm listening to Outcast. I remember it vividly. And he's like, "What are you doing here?" And I didn't hear him at first, and then I look up and I see him saying something. I took my headphone off, and I'm like, oh, "What's up?" And he's like, "What are you doing here?" And I look around. I'm like, "All right, you talking to me?" He's like, "Yeah, what are you doing here?" And I'm looking around. I'm like, "I mean, you see me standing at the bus stop." And he's like, "Oh, only gay people are over here. So if you're here, you're gay." And I just laughed a little bit. And I'm like, "Nah, well, God, you're wrong, because I'm not." So then I put my headphone back on. And then he's just saying something. And then his friend comes up, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. He's drunk and blah blah blah." I'm like, "All right, cool. It's cool. Just get your boy so he doesn't get hurt." And so they go off, and I'm waiting. Yeah, and this bus like isn't coming, so I'm about to just like hop in a Uber, and then I see them coming back, and I'm like, "Here we go." And then they come back, and then his friends, drunk out of his mind. He's gone. "Oh, I'm sorry, and I didn't mean to say that to you. You're a nice guy, and you're a nice kid, or whatever." And I'm like, "All right, cool. It's cool. No worries. I'm not even mad about it." And then they're asking like directions for some bar or some place that me and my coworkers, we went before. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's like right down the street or whatever." And then his friend's like, "Oh, thank you," and goes to puts out his hand, shake my hand. I'm like, "All right, cool, whatever." And shake his hand. And he grabs me and he tries to kiss me. I like pushed him back. I'm like, "Yo, what are you doing?" And his friend is just looking at him. I'm like, "Yo, you gotta get your boy, or else I'm gonna knock him out." And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Come on, come on." He's like, "Oh, you want it? You're in this area. The only gay people in this area." And like, how they like how that could go like wrong in so many directions. If
Yeah.
you, I'm sorry, like even at that time, if you hit somebody that was, homosexual, people may look at that as like, "Oh, it's a hate crime or something like that." So I'm
Sure.
like, "Yo," and then I'm a black man, and I'm like, "Yo, am I getting set up or something?" And so they
Good point.
finally, yeah, exactly. So they finally leave, and I'm like, just sitting there like, "Yo, what is going on?" And then finally the bus comes. I hop on it, and I'm like, "This is like got to be the craziest." And I think this happened like, I was probably there, what, not even 6 months, maybe 4 months in. I was there, and just random craziness, man. Like that's L.A., and that one's tame compared to the other other
Yeah. Yeah.
stories that
Yeah.
I have.
I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah. I I probably would have
Yeah.
ran away. Because it would have went very south if I actually interacted and did anything. I probably would have just reacted. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I was
my yeah, you had a lot more restraint than me.
yeah, I
I
was
can tell
proud of
you that.
myself because I was like,
Yeah,
yo,
yeah,
man, like, get away from Mike. Looking at him like, get your boy, because
yeah. I don't think I would have engaged personally. Like I said, I probably would have just
yeah,
walked away. I wouldn't have even said nothing, just because I know, you know, I probably would have flew off the rails if somebody were try to do something like that to me. Like, that's like sexual assault. To be honest with you,
yo,
against them, that's male on male
yeah,
sexual assault. I would have
exactly,
flipped out.
yeah, and
Like, that's not invited. Don't. So yeah,
yeah,
I would have ran away as
yeah.
fast as I could.
And I know people were like,
You
"Oh,
know.
if it was a woman, you would have like happily and stuff like that." And sometimes if it catch you off
I don't
guard, you're like, "Yo, what are
Yeah,
you doing? Like,
yeah.
chill,
I
get out
wouldn't
of here."
I wouldn't have engaged either. I would have just been
Yeah,
like, yeah, with a woman, sure,
you
but
know,
would have been like, yeah, well, like still, I
Hey,
don't know you.
yeah,
This
exactly.
isn't open season
Yeah,
like that. You can't just come up and do that. I'm sorry. I don't know you
yeah,
from a
you
hole
don't
in the
know
wall.
exactly. You don't know people. I've had
It-
stuff like that happen too, man. Like it's been a wild ride
Yeah,
in
yeah.
in LA for me, and this is home now. I love it,
Yeah.
but it's crazy.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, I don't think nothing like that to me has happened. Well, some crazy shit has happened, but you know,
Yeah,
legally, I can't talk. I can't. I shouldn't be saying anything about any of it
yeah.
because ongoing litigation, unfortunately. But one of the craziest things I think that happened, that again, not as crazy as that, a little bit more tame.
Hmm.
So when I lived in Connecticut, I lived in a forest preserve, so basically a protected area of the state of Connecticut, protected by the state because of wildlife. We lived in I don't want to say that it was remote, but
Hmm.
because it really wasn't. Civilization was no more than 15 minutes away. But walking distance, 15 minutes is probably an hour, 2 hours away from some
Yeah.
civilization. So if you
Oh
get
man.
stranded where we lived, you would have been screwed. Out in the middle of the woods, right? No
Yep.
street lights, none of that. Only when you pull into the community, right? So from afar, when you're coming into the community, you didn't see shit until you were
Mm.
like 100 feet from the community. Then you saw the community all lit up, right?
Yeah.
To make a long story short, one one evening, my ex decided to go out with her mother and the kids, and they were going to have sushi, and decided to leave me home because whatever, wanted to give me a break, and was like, "Oh, you stay home and relax and whatever. We'll be back in a couple hours. Enjoy the house to yourself." So
How
I was
sweet.
like, "Yeah, sure, great, beautiful. Get some quality me time in for a couple hours." you know, Turn of events. There was a sudden turn of events. Right, I just hop in the shower. Not a minute into my shower, my phone's ringing, and I usually never bring my phone with me into the bathroom. I kind of leave it on the charger on my desk.
Mm-hmm.
So I brought it in with me, and I decided to answer it. Why? I don't know. I was like, let me reach out of the shower because we had a jacuzzi and then we had a stand up shower, and I was in the stand up shower, so I opened up the door and grabbed my phone off the vanity where the sinks was, because I could basically reach it from outside of the shower,
Yep.
and grabbed it, and my ex was calling me and was screaming at the top of her lungs, and I was like, what the hell? Like, somebody get murdered or something like that? Like, yelling through the phone, like
Yeah.
you gotta like hold it back because it's so goddamn loud. Like, what the hell? So, anyways, make a long story short, they took my I had a large Ford Expedition for like, you know, when took the entire family out, could fit,
Mm-hmm.
8 of us in it at a time, and so she decided to take that instead of the car, whatever. I think it's a good thing they took it because somebody probably would have died if they were in the car. But anyways, about a
Mm.
mile down the road, they hit a big. It was mating season. They hit a big male deer who jumped in front of the truck while she's going down the hill.
Oh
She told me she
man.
was actually speeding. Right? She was going down a hill. Shouldn't have been speeding, but she
Jeez.
said she was
Yeah.
doing like 40, 45 miles an hour, and she said, I didn't want to swerve. They tell you to run right into the deer because if you swerve, you probably roll over and, whatever, cause more damage. So, to make a long story short, she runs into the deer and with everybody in the car, the airbags basically destroyed the truck. The deer destroyed the truck.
Yeah.
His body destroyed it. So I ran out of the house literally in boxer shorts and a shirt and fucking. I think I grabbed a pair of I don't know if it was my Adidas or Nikes that were laying at the door and started running down the street. And one of my neighbors sees me running, comically fucking turns around, pulls a Yui, flies back up, and I jump in the passenger seat and we fly down the road to where my truck was, and the deer was laying in the road, dead. And
Yeah.
you know, um, I was like, "Is everybody okay? Nobody got hurt." And then they were inside one of the neighbors' house across the street who saw everything, and I was like, after everybody was all said and done, I was like, "You guys fucked up my truck. What the hell?"
Yeah.
Like, you know? And I
Oh
ran over to
man.
the deer and I'm like, "You motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like,
The-
why did you have to run in front of the fucking truck?"
yeah. And so like when you see that some of those big deer, a male deer, usually they get hit, they get up and scurry away. So he had to like
She destroyed,
it,
so I actually had to call the Connecticut State Police, like an environmental police had to come out
yeah.
because like they don't write you a so we she got written at my ex got written a citation. Well,
Yeah.
not a citation, just an incident because you had an impact with wildlife. And again, the some of the state police in Connecticut are environmental police as well. So he came out and he
Yeah.
was like, "Man," he goes, "That must have been such an impact because the deer was, I don't know, about 100 feet down the road from where the truck
Oh.
stopped. He got thrown.
Yeah.
You got to figure a 10,000 pound SUV and a 1,000 pound deer. I mean,
Yeah, right. And
yeah,
that's
he
you
he
going
got he gets
40.
he gets he gets sent for a ride.
That's,
Yeah,
yeah. Wow.
significant amount of energy expended. The cop said the deer's insides probably exploded. There was no physical damage on the deer either. He looked, like I said, he looked fully intact. He's laying there, obviously with his eyes open, dead. I'm like, what the hell? So I had to help the trooper. We moved him off. We moved him off to the side of the road so other cars could get by. And the
Yeah.
fucker was heavy.
Oh,
Like he was a
yeah.
heavy fucking thing. And the next day, I drove back down the road and the deer was gone. Somebody must have picked it up and took it home and cut it up.
Yeah, put it on the mantle.
Something, hey, yeah, look what we got. Yeah, it
Well,
was
rest
it
in
was
peace
interesting. So
to that deer.
that deer, yeah. But so anybody out
Man.
there, thinking about moving into the country, into the the real burbs, watch out for them deer, especially during mating season.
Yeah, that's one of the things you got to consider. You have to be careful.
Yeah. So from that day forth, 15 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour up and down that stretch of road because was like, yeah, definitely not wrecking any more vehicles or getting ourselves killed here over fucking deer. Not worth it.
Yeah.
We're like, I feel like we're encroaching on their territory at this point. We like living amongst them.
Yeah, exactly.
So funny.
Man.
Well, speaking of animals, I mean, I got another funny sort of historical event that kind of segues right into this, and it involves some form of animal. But in 1932, you won't believe this, there was they called it the Great Emu War. And in Australia, they mobilized soldiers to manage the emu population. They were out there trying to gun them down with machine guns. But the emu, actually a very intelligent bird, sort of outwitted them. And they humorously say that the emus won the war.
Oh, wow.
They beat the Australians at their own game.
Oh my God.
Because they did not control the population as well as they intended to. Big ass birds.
Oh man,
couldn't
the Great
couldn't be
Emu War.
Yeah,
Australians.
in Australia.
You guys are. Hey, maybe emus are smarter than what they, I guess, let on. But
Yeah, clearly.
Australians,
The
come on.
yeah, they thought big dumb bird, like, oh, we're gonna handle you, big dumb bird, and
You get
definitely was
outclassed.
not the case by a big walking bird.
Oh man.
Yeah, I thought that was funny as hell. Um,
Yeah.
and they subsequently did a reenactment a couple years ago in I think it was 2021, where where, where the population dressed up in costumes as soldiers and emus, and they reenacted the
What?
entire war. Yeah, funny. Hmm. Yep. Piece of
What?
historical Australian significance, apparently. Yeah.
Oh my god,
Yep.
reenacting and
Yep.
wow.
Yep.
Oh, as an American, we reenact stuff. There's all these like reenactments, like people doing the cosplay and all of that
Yeah.
stuff. So, who am
Yeah.
I to judge what the Australians do with their time?
Listen. Yeah, I feel the same way. I find it funny. Like I
Yeah.
said, I think there's some comic relief that they probably give themselves by doing that, or having had done that. I mean, you lost a war to emus.
Yeah.
I mean, shit.
Yeah, you
Might as well
can't.
joke about it.
Yeah, you can't say anything to anybody else. No, you lost to some emus. So,
That's it. That's the end of it. You know.
Australians.
So.
Oh
Thought it was funny.
man. Well, I just dug something up because it's fitting because we have kids and more world history, but I didn't know this until about maybe a few hours ago. That Britain banned Christmas before between 1644 and 1660. So 16 years Christmas was banned, and I know everybody don't celebrate it, but man, to ban it, like what could have happened? And as I'm reading it, it says Lord Proctor Oliver Cromwell, a sort of unelected prime minister, banned the celebration of Christmas. Cromwell was a Puritan, a sort of very strict Christian who believed that fun things like dancing, music, and makeup were sinful and would upset God.
What?
It says, unsurprisingly, this wasn't very popular, obviously, and there were even riots over it. The English might not have liked it, but the Scots weren't as bothered. In Scotland, there was no Christmas celebration from 1640 until 1958. Now that I have to look up. 1640 to
Yeah,
1958, that's 318 years.
Yeah, that's
Hey, if there's anybody that's Scottish,
interesting.
why, like, is that true? Like, let us know. But obviously, I said in the beginning, as a parent, we celebrate it. We have daughters, and imagine you at that time, your kids looking forward to it, and then the next year, it's like it's canceled.
Yeah, like what the. What? Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, how do you even explain that to the kids and subsequent
Yeah.
generations growing, like Christmas doesn't exist
Mm-hmm.
anymore.
And maybe it's my own ignorance again as an American. We sometimes unknowingly put our stuff out and think
Yeah,
everybody does it. So, maybe it wasn't as big of a deal, I guess.
sure.
I guess it was because there was some riots. So it
Yeah,
had to
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah,
a big deal at that
yeah,
time. But man,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. It got a
That's
underground
jeez.
Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. Christmas of yeah, probably, yeah. And all the presents were probably purchased on the black market.
Yeah, right. It's just
Or,
like
some yeah. This is for some other celebration.
yeah, right.
At the time. That's funny.
Mhm.
That's hilarious. Well, speaking of celebrations, there's another. This is very old.
Mm-hmm.
This particular event in history took place in 1518 in Strasbourg, called the Dancing Plague of 1518. So there was dancing mania in the city. People danced uncontrollably for days. Why, how, it doesn't say, but it essentially led to dozens of deaths from people having heart attacks, strokes, and basically exhaustion. And they say that the the cause remains unknown, but the theories range from, they said, religious fervor to ergot poisoning. So I was like, what
Ergert?
the ergot? Yes. Yes. Yes.
That
Ergot
is
poisoning.
the craziest thing I've ever heard. Ever. Like,
Yeah.
that is
Yep.
crazy. People danced for days and
Yeah.
heart
So
attacks and strokes.
yeah. So ergot poisoning. So it's basically contaminated food. If for those of you who
Got
don't
it.
know,
Okay. I didn't know
food
that. Now I
contaminated
know.
with it's food contaminated with a some sort of fungus, basically.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, probably led to hallucinations,
Yeah.
maybe, and
Okay.
weird ass behavior. But
Yeah. Okay. It makes sense. You dance having a good time. And if there's just food and everything for days and, people just dancing and drinking and then just eating whatever, you're sweating and hugging and just all you want to do is dance and, that's the true last dance right there.
clearly, yeah,
Oh, man.
interesting.
Yeah, very, very, very interesting. Yeah. Well, moving on, I want to move back to animals for a second. And this was crazy to me. I looked it up for a couple of websites, and they all confirmed it. But in 1386, a pig was executed in France. All right, and then I'm reading straight from the article here. So it said, there wasn't a great detail of civil rights in the Middle Ages, and as it turns out, there weren't a great of animal rights either. So much so that they were even subject to human justice. One such case happened in Falaise, France, I believe, where a pig attacked a child's face and went on to later die from their wounds. The pig was arrested, kept in prison, and then sent to court where it stood trial for murder, was found guilty, and then executed by hanging.
Oh my god. Yeah. I was probably if we had PETA around, they would have been flipping out over that.
You arrest the pig. He's in prison with what, other humans?
Yeah. Would he have his own cell?
Yeah, for real.
Have had a bunkmate?
And then he was sent
You know?
to court and stood trial. Now, did he take the trial? Did they ask it questions?
Yeah, exactly. How did that work? Exactly. I know. Who yeah.
Yeah.
I have so many questions
The
about
jury on that, and like, was he given a fair trial? That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the pig was doing what a pig does. I mean, I never knew a pig could attack. And the child, they don't say how old the child was. Was the child provoking the pig?
Yep.
And the pig was like, all right, I'm going to do pig things. You better. So there's a lot to unravel or uncover with that one. But I saw it on a few sites. Does it make it true? You don't know. I mean, so if anybody else knows anything about that, you have more on that, like, please let me know.
Yeah. This would be interesting. This kind of keeping the animal theme here. We seem to be talking about a lot of weird animal events these days. But in the 1960s, the government had a black project, right, run through the CIA. It was called Operation Acoustic Kitty,
Hmm.
and it was an experiment that was used to basically employ cats as spies during the Cold War. Our government spent approximately $20 million on this project to get cats to go, into the Soviet Union, Russia, and spy in some way, shape, or form. Ultimately, it failed. The project was not a success in any way, shape, or form, and just
What?
basically goes to showcase the lengths that our government will take to, partake in espionage or
Mm.
spying.
What did
I
we?
have a whole bunch of questions about that too.
Yeah, but what was one of the questions on the episode one? Was who's the most like the baddest animal or something like that? And it was cats.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Of course, cats would be involved in something like this, and but
Spying.
yeah, intelligent, yeah, but again, they do what they want to do, and that's probably what happened. It was like, all right, cool, you're
Exactly.
gonna deploy us here, and I'm gonna go find a
We're
place
not
and
doing
just
shit.
chill. Yo, for real, they're just going and hanging out and
Yeah.
doing
Give
them.
me some Russian catnip and
Yep.
exactly. Yep. That's what they were looking for.
Oh
Oh, they're
man.
gonna give us Russian catnip. All right, we're gonna hang out over here and fuck the Americans. We're not doing shit for you
Yeah,
guys.
for real.
You know,
And you said
come back when we feel like it.
20 million dollars.
$1 million. Yeah.
Did the cats
Yeah.
get paid?
So.
You know?
No, probably not. Probably
Yeah,
lost their lives. To be honest with you, you know,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, exactly.
dude. Yeah. I
Wow.
was trying to look up. Yeah, I was trying to look up the inflation amount like during the 60s, what $20
Hmm.
million would be worth today. Trying to
Oh
look it up
man.
right now while we're here. So let's just look and see what the
Yeah, I'm interested to see.
wow. Yeah. So $20 million in 1960 is the equivalent in purchasing power of about $207 million. Almost $250 they spent trying to,
Dang.
again based on today's
Wr-
inflationary rate. Um,
Wrangle up some cats and wow. That's just
trying to
wow.
turn, yeah, trying to turn him
Wouldn't
into James Bond the cat.
wouldn't dogs be better just because they're more loyal and they understand? I mean, I'm sure cats understand, but again, they just do their own thing. So, like, wouldn't dogs been a
Yeah,
better animal in this instance?
I don't know. Honestly, I think they were thinking about cats because cats are very sleek and stealthy, and dogs are,
That's true.
what that was the logical, yeah,
Yeah,
that's the logical sort of
you, yeah. Dog
take
will
I would
turn on you too. You
approach
give
it
it
with.
some food, and he's your best
Yeah,
friend. So,
he's your best friend at that point. So
yeah,
that's probably why they use cats. They figured, oh, cats, will surprise the enemy, and they get around, and you won't even know they're there. But I just think it failed, to your point, because they are going to do what they
Y-
want to do and not what they're
yeah.
there to do.
Knowing our government, they probably were like, oh, it's because they have 9 lives. They can survive up there.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh man.
Funny. Funny. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know. That's
these
funny,
keep
man.
getting weirder and weirder, man. These are yeah, you come with some really good ones that you have me shaking my
Yeah.
head this whole episode so far. Um
There's some more events.
and
More to come.
again, yeah, again, let's keep with the animal theme. Um when I found this, it just made me laugh because you visualize it. It's terrible, but it's fox tossing was once a popular sport. Fox tossing, okay? Um,
What?
Popular with Europe's aristocracy during the 17th and 18th centuries, fox tossing would involve a person or a couple throwing a fox as far and as high as they could.
What? Were they alive?
Yeah.
What
Taking
the?
the foxes and just tossing them.
What the hell?
It was
Foxes
a
are.
yeah, it was a sport.
What the hell? Yeah, foxes are notorious. I mean, I know foxes are fairly independent animals, and they just kind of do their own thing as well.
Yeah.
I wonder. I said, I wonder how the hell they even managed to wrangle them up and toss them, because I know
Exactly.
foxes are feisty.
Yep. And
What
are
the
they
hell?
like tied so you can toss it? No, because like you said, they're
Like
feisty. They're not gonna
hogtied,
just
basically? Yeah.
yeah. They're
Yeah, they're
not
not
gonna
gonna
just
just let you
let
toss
you.
them.
Yeah.
No, and they got sharp teeth and claws, and yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting. I I have a bunch of questions about that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
How the hell and why, and again, if PETA was around, not be happening.
man. They yeah. Shut it down before it even starts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, I again, it just so happens that there's a lot of weird animal related events, and I'm sure there's even more than what I found. But
Yeah.
in
Exactly.
2000
Mhm.
in 2003, a group of scientists they came up with a theory. Well, it's called the infinite monkey theorem, and it's a test of the theorem that an infinite number of monkeys typing for an infinite amount of time will eventually produce Shakespeare's works or Shakespearean works. So they
What?
took 6 monkeys that produced 5 pages of text, mainly composed of the letter S. That was what that was the most that they got out
My
of them.
God.
So yeah, yeah, they got the S in Shakespeare, if that was any constellation. But what they did more so than typing words was they pretty much defaced the keyboards that they were typing on, because they're wild ass animals. Listen, intelligent
Oh,
animals at that.
how
But what did you expect them to
how
do?
fitting.
What did you expect them to do? They're going to just like I said, I love the ingenuity of
Mhm.
hypotheses, and being able to think abstractly, and you know think, and basically that was wishful thinking on the part of the scientists or
Yeah,
entomologists, whoever the
exactly.
hell was doing that.
Yeah.
You knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
know the whole theory of evolution. you know we came from monkeys, and there is some correlation genetically between us and all that good stuff, but they are animals. They're not intelligent beings like we are as humans, as our
Mhm.
race. So what the hell did you think they were going to do? Like I said, produce Shakespearean work? Come on now.
Infinite amount of monkeys, infinite amount of time.
Like I said, I don't understand that.
God.
Like I said, is it because they're saying that they will evolve infinitely over time to be able to produce it? Are you trying to suggest that they will evolve into humans, where the ape becomes a Homo sapien, which is a human, basically? Is that what they're trying to allude to? I, I mean, like I said, I that's just
In
was far fetched as hell in my book.
yeah, and then these tests and all this stuff, these experiments, and they're obviously funded, taxpayer funded, and
I'm
it's
sure. I'm sure. Yeah.
crazy. I'm sure there's things nowadays that are being funded and we have no idea. It's like some crazy stuff, with whatever. I'm sure that there's some documentation out there that you can find to find some experiments that are being done. But man,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
takes the cake of just nonsense.
Yeah. That one got me. That one
Yeah.
got me. I was like, what the? Like, really?
Oh my god.
You know?
Yeah, that was crazy. And I think
Yeah.
most people know that. I don't know if I can say most people, but a few people should know this. I think you do, Dave. But a big fraud here. Thomas Edison didn't invent most of the stuff he patented. And
No.
yeah, everybody's know Thomas Edison, the light bulb, and all that stuff. But here we go. It says, it's fair to say that Edison was one of the world's most notorious intellectual property thieves. Of the 1,093 things he smashed the patent on, he stole most of them off real geniuses like Nikola Tesla, Wilhelm Röntgen, and Joseph Swan, the latter of whom originally invented the light bulb. So,
yep, I've heard that.
Edison, they're here in California. There's a Edison electricity company and all that stuff. But yeah, a lot of people know that. He wasn't the one who invented the light bulb, but gets the credit. Everybody, who's Thomas Edison? Oh, he invented the light bulb.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. And apparently, of the 1,093 things, most of them he stole. So, did he have people working for him? I'm sure he patented some things that he did do, and then he just had a team of people who, or people went through him. How was he able to steal this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, through acquisition, through acquiring the patents for the said products. He, the way it works with a patent typically is first to market, first to use it publicly. You can kind of then apply. Again, we're not getting into patent and trademark law here. That's a whole slippery slope to go down. But yeah. In general, if he was the first to use it, publicly market it, as, hey, I created the light bulb and I was out there doing it first and got it to market, he could probably back then, that's probably how it happened. He was the first to market with his product and applied for the patent and said, screw you guys, I'm going home because I have the patent. You don't, so pay me. Again, I don't have all the backstory, but I have heard that with regard to him and Tesla and some of the other guys that he took patents from. So
that's why we always say, boys and girls, to do your own research and find things out. Like, if it doesn't sit right with you, then chances are it might not be. So do your own research and you'll uncover a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. Fun fact too, talking about founders and creators of certain products. This is a little piece of history here for any of you out there listening. But McDonald's was not founded by Ray Kroc. That's the guy who everybody knows as the founder of McDonald's. He did not found it. He bought it from the brothers, Maurice McDonald and Dick McDonald. So it was basically Dick and Mac. Those are their nicknames. Those are the guys those are the two brothers that founded McDonald's in California. Ray Kroc came in and basically wanted to help them expand their empire across the country. He's the one who is known for basically helping McDonald's go global. He came in and helped them franchise all across the country and then the world, and eventually bought the rights to McDonald's from the brothers.
Oh, wow.
For I think he paid them $1 million a piece, or like $1.6 million a piece. So after taxes, back then, was a significant sum of money. They were, millionaires, obviously, off of that. And he is not the founder. He did not found McDonald's.
That's interesting.
He took credit for it after he basically took over the company from the brothers, took it right out from underneath him because he was enterprising. He was a shrewd businessman.
And the $1 million back then, when does it say when he
it was in the 60s, I think, is when he bought it from them.
Oh yeah, so if you pay $1 million a piece, so that was still pretty good. But if they were smart and business savvy, they would have been like,
I think they again, I don't. I'm not reading anything right now, but from what I do remember reading, I think that they took that money and ended up later on investing it into McDonald's stock when McDonald's went public. So they ended up with more money than,
Oh, smart
they yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Wow. So I
They
take that back. Yeah.
reinvested in the company. Yeah, they reinvested in the company. There's
Wow.
also a story they said that Ray Kroc screwed them out of royalties in perpetuity. They wanted 1% or 2% of profit of
Mm-hmm.
the company, but it was done on a handshake deal. That was because Ray Kroc said
Oh,
that his investors wouldn't allow it. Just they wanted the $1.6 million payment, and that was it. So he screwed them out of that. But like I said, then I read further on that they really didn't get screwed because they ended up investing their money back into McDonald's and kind of made the right
yeah.
move. So it wasn't this big sob story
Hmm.
that has been out there. They
Yeah.
actually did pretty well for themselves financially.
Wow.
So
It's interesting.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, very interesting.
I can say that
So
I, in 7 years, I haven't put a dime into McDonald's.
no, no,
Um,
same here.
so
Yep.
yeah, that's for another
Yep.
episode. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Another crazy one, man. Interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yep.
things that I didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Then there's apparently a ton of events in history. I mean that have
Yeah.
some bit of significance in the context of what we're
Yeah.
talking about here.
Yeah. Okay, I got one more, Dave. We've been at it. Where we at? 46, almost 47 minutes now. So,
Yeah.
this one, we were talking about this, before we went on, and I thought this was, not the strangest story, but it is strange. If people recall the Heaven's Gate, cult killings,
Yep.
you know, basically, and I just took a snippet of the article that I'll read for you guys. So here on March 26th, 1997, 39 members of the Heaven's Gate religious group were found dead in a San Diego mansion. The group believed that their bodies were merely containers and that they would be transported to a higher level of existence by a spacecraft following the Hale-Bopp comet. The members died by ingesting a mixture of phenobarbital and vodka. And the funny thing is, for me, that it just gets me every time. Each was wearing black clothing and Nike Decades sneakers. So they wanted to make sure they were looking fly for when, they their existence was transported to another realm. And
Jeez.
those Nike Decade sneakers, they have been obviously discontinued. You could find some people selling them, online. You do a search, but yeah, Nike has discontinued just because of the obviously what transpired in the whole Heaven's Gate cult
Yeah.
killings. Yeah, and sad. I forget who the leader was, but people they get brainwashed thinking that certain things are gonna happen, and it's sad, but they were
Yeah.
fly in
It
their
is.
Nike Decades.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder. I wonder if that diminished the value of them, or they're actually worth money because they're no longer in production. I'd
Yeah,
be curious to see. I've never looked that up to see what those things sell for. I'm
I
curious.
think so. I think the value of them, because people, when they put two and two together for what happened, the value of them are higher than obviously what they were, and they're not
Yeah.
anything crazy like a off-white sneaker,
Yeah.
$3,000 or
Yeah. Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that, but it
Yeah.
is
Yeah. Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
pretty high.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously sad. There's been other incidences of like again the Branch Davidians.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They were all trying to die for a specific course. Um, So, yeah, anything like that's sad. But yeah, very interesting that they were dressed and fitted in Nikes. That's interesting. Like,
Yeah, I
I
know. Like
wonder what that had to do with the whole situation aside from looking fly.
one of the
I'm
articles
curious.
it made me laugh. It says you know, obviously the sneakers were the subject of much speculation, and it says some believe that the sneakers were chosen because they were comfortable and affordable, while others believe that they had some symbolic significance to the cult, and then others say that it was just simply they liked the style of the sneakers. So I mean, you know,
Yeah,
they liked the style. It was symbolic, or
yeah.
because it was adequately priced. You know, I mean,
Probably probably a combination
Yeah,
of
exactly.
all of those
Because
things.
you get 39 pairs of Nikes. I mean, nowadays the Nikes will run you about $120. So
Yeah,
you get 40 of those,
yeah.
and you're looking at you know $500 or so.
Sure,
So
sure. Yeah, that's interesting.
yeah,
That's interesting. Well, I'll help us kind
or
of
5,000.
set this off on a lighter note. This is a little bit more comical in nature, and maybe even a little bit more. This may make you think a little bit
Mm-hmm.
here. In 2019, during Art Basel in Miami, for those of you who don't know, Art Basel Week, where tons of different artistic events, music, paintings, and all forms of art kind of take place in Miami. So there was a piece of art that sold. There was a piece of art that sold during Art Basel Week, and it consisted of a banana that was duct taped to a wall, and it sold for $120,000. So it was
Oh
titled
man.
"Comedian" by Maurizio Catalan, and then it was later eaten by a performance artist. The banana. So the whole, the whole, the whole,
Oh
uh,
man.
the whole art exhibit thing kind of sparked, this whole debate on the nature of art and its value.
Yeah.
The eye is in the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, or the value is in the eye of the beholder. I don't know. That sounded asinine to me. And
Yeah.
you know, for like then what if it was worth that much money, why the hell did you eat it?
Yeah, for real. Although you ate the banana. Ah
I mean, I don't know.
man.
I guess they didn't want a spoiled banana artwork.
Yeah.
So
I mean, guy made 120 grand off of that. And
yeah, imagine that.
what's crazy when you when you were saying that, like the Art Basel and all the art, this tee I'm wearing is was for that. It was it's called the Pollock. It's based on Jackson Pollock or Pollock. I'm not
Pollock,
sure how
yep,
you pronounce. Yeah, in his artwork, it's a John Elliott T-shirt. So it's just crazy that how
yep.
the whole the art thing and this it all ties in together.
Ties in, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yeah, I figured that was a more lighthearted way to kind of
Yeah,
end the segment on kind of weird and crazy cultural events that have take place in history, and there's plenty more.
yeah,
So
yeah. This
maybe a
was
series we can kind of make out of this.
so fun. You got me with a few of them. The emus. Oh, my Australian friends. Actually, I'm gonna ask them about that and see if they if it's something that they've heard in their which I'm sure they have.
Can actually ask Donnie's wife. Shout out to DBL out there in Vegas.
Oh
We can ask
yeah,
him. She's from
yeah.
Australia. His
Yep.
wife's Australian, and she's an artist actually. I can ask her about the emu situation and ask her what she thinks about the Art Basel
Yeah.
piece of artwork.
And that's now been digested.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So, $120,000 of artwork eaten
Ooh.
and gone.
Hey, yep.
What a what a crazy world we live in. I'll tell you.
Yeah, nah, I feel you, man.
Well, we'll leave you guys with that. Hope you enjoyed this one. I think it was a bit of a roller coaster ride, and
Yeah.
probably taught you some things that you didn't know.
Yeah. I learned a lot, so yeah, I feel like I'm a better person.
It was yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. All right, we will catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.
Man down, I've been thirsty, but my soul drowned, been drowning.